What is going on, ShibaDoge Army? It is Ahmed, and I am back today with yet another video for you all. Today we're going to talk about ShibaDoge token. Now remember, I always like to preface by saying that I'm not a financial advisor, but rather I always try to put you guys on the plays that I'm in. And you guys know this is a token that I talked about prior to the significant run-up that we saw for ShibaDoge, and we're going to talk about price action a little bit later. But right now, as the overall market is correcting, we have a lot to discuss about ShibaDoge and why I do believe that it's really presenting a pretty decent buying opportunity. So let's go ahead and dive in. But first thing I want to mention, only a few hours ago, the official ShibaDoge Twitter account said today begins our partnership with Wall Street Bets. They'll be spreading the word of ShibaDoge all week starting today. So again, hopefully as the overall market rebounds after all the Russia FUD that is going on, we're going to see some significant rise in the price action for ShibaDoge. Now, we're going to talk about a Medium article today, actually, called A Vision of Unity for the Next 888 Years. But before we dive in, guys, I do want to mention, for those of you who are interested, there's going to be a bunch of links in the description below for the ShibaDoge community. And if you want to go in and join them on their Telegram, so tomorrow, 3 times a week, they have AMAs at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So California time, West Coast time here in the US. The ShibaDoge community does live AMAs over on their Telegram. So make sure you guys go join. I'll try to drop in as well tomorrow evening. And again, they do that 3 times a week. So a vision of unity for the next 888 years. Overall market, before we dive in, of course, has been rough. Everything is downtrending. Bitcoin and Ethereum correcting significantly. And of course, the microcaps are getting hit the hardest. But it's presenting, again, in my opinion, pretty strong buying opportunities for those of you that are interested in getting on to new tokens, especially when they're discounted. So let's go ahead and talk about ShibaDoge. So they start out with this prologue on this new Medium article that they published a couple days ago. Should this document and our community be preserved for the years to come? You may be reading this on Mars or further. Congrats to you. You made it. I hope they have good French fries up there. So to start with the prologue, the people are only legitimate fountain of power by James Madison. Really good, strong quote there. And the big thing that I want to highlight is just key points that I found throughout the article. So the person publishing this document is to lay the groundwork for what may be a community that lives in 2100 and beyond, to carry forward our original values into what they may end up being. Web 4, not just Web 3, but they're saying Web 4, Web 5, Web 6, or something entirely different. Throughout this narrative, you will notice an underlying theme of collective unity that extends throughout everything. I personally believe, they say, that the local unification of humanity will propel us into a realm of possible, unfathomable by even our greatest minds. It has been proven time and time again that we as the people are far more capable and resilient as species when collectively working together. As Aristotle said, man is by nature a social animal. An individual who is unsocial naturally and not accidentally is either beneath our notice or more than human. Society is something that precedes the individual. And that's why I really like the concept of ShibaDoge. Shiba Inu community and the Dogecoin community. 2 communities that were not really getting along because, of course, SHIB came along as the Dogecoin killer. But 2 whales came together and formed this new asset, new token, and the hybrid is creating something pretty special, presenting buying opportunities and potential significant upside because, again, you're getting in potentially at a really early stage and early price point. Some historical perspective that they mentioned going back in time, and we won't really cover that in too much detail, but I think, again, for those of you who have the time, everything's going to be in the description below, and I would recommend you guys read it. I just don't want the video to drag on too long, but they end the historical perspectives area by saying, ultimately, its fate depends on you, the community of today, of your children, and the dozens of generations to come. So the timeline for progress, and this is the thing that investors are going to be interested in. They say here in 1950, so basically, again, they're talking about the history of the S&P 500, particularly the S&P 500 for the purpose of this calculation. In 1950 would have yielded you and your hires more than $250,000 today on February 2022, when you look at it from a macro view. Too long of a time period for you? Well, let's look at Amazon. Remember, the world's largest online bookstore? What started as a novel and a niche concept now sits at over a $1 trillion market cap in February 2022. A $100 investment in Amazon on IPO the day it launched would have yielded you more than $1.8 million, all in less than 25 years. That's insane. Now, what am I really getting at? If it's not clear, it's clear, isn't it? The world is moving ever faster as technology disrupts the global economy, making the thirst for innovation and more connected society unimaginable. What was achieved by early investors in the S&P 500 was accomplished by early Amazon investors in a third of the time. As we embark on evolution of technological disruption, in Web3, my expectation is the window becomes even shorter. So over time, investments yielded bigger returns in shorter amounts of time as we've progressed in the technological investments and technological age. Are the early investors of Amazon and other great technology companies touting their entry points and exit points? Are they telling tales of how they bought low and sold high enough times that they created generational wealth, on the swings? I know of none. Great investors look into ideas, vision, and mission. They don't trade, they invest. They adhere to a core set of principles that guide and provide reassurance during uncertain times. Do these investors have the same fears that all of us do? Certainly. We're not AI just yet. However, their commitment to long-term vision is what separates them from the herd. Take, for example, the numerous crises that companies like Amazon have faced throughout the years. This is actually really interesting. Whether those be supply shortages, technological failures, the housing market collapse back in 2008, 9/11, you name it. Through all of these potentially disastrous occurrences for Amazon, they maintain and thrive today. For those of you reading this document, in the far future, it remains to be seen whether Amazon remains a giant in your time. So please check your history books if you're asking yourself, what is Amazon? Hint, to future ShibaDoge family, it's not the Amazon rainforest. We know what happened there. I think that's hilarious because, again, they're referencing the ShibaDoge family potentially way in the future, making it a strong point that they want to be around for a really long time. They're going to say the proof is in the pudding, and you're probably wondering what this is and has to do with crypto and ShibaDoge. Well, the window of time for early investors in Shiba, as well as many other tokens, was even shorter than all of those combined. At the start of 2021, a single SHIB token could have been purchased for a microscopic fraction of a penny, 10 zeros to be exact. 12 months later, the price dropped 6 zeros and delivered more than 45 million % return. To put that in perspective, $5 held and invested at the beginning of 2021 would have made you a multi-millionaire at the start of 2022. It's a new world, people. Do you see? Speculators believe that the crypto market will bring upon the next age of humanity. As it stands today, crypto as a whole is already a multi-million-dollar market and is heralded to surpass everything that has come before it. An entire revolution is emerging that will fundamentally change the entire basis for how society interacts and connects with other people and with others. Irrespective of how crypto evolves, its foundations will propel us to the next stage of evolution. So what makes crypto so different than any other revolution in recorded human history? Well, surprising to some, we are actually not that old of a species on the timeline of life on planet Earth. Very articulate, I might add. For much of our history, we have been beholden to a centralized government and ruling body. The incredible thing, this movement to give power back to the people can only be possible now. They go into a little bit more details, they add to it, and they go in and talk about why decentralization and why does it work to that extent. And I think this here is the point they want to make. After giving you guys all of the history and all the details regarding ShibaDoge and everything to do with the history of the financial system, what is the future of ShibaDoge and why would you want to consider being an investor in this token? We intend to institute the following actions on behalf of our community as our project emerges from small seedling it once was. These actions shall serve as a framework for our path forward and shall not be considered a roadmap with a clear and defined schedule timeline. Contract renouncing. At some point in the future, the time will come to renounce our smart contract. This will mean the further changes are no longer possible and the additional innovation will be limited to the confines of the existing framework. Hyper-deflationary tokenomics adjustment. Because we have a free open marketplace to exchange tokens, the transaction tax was designed to reward holders through components of scarcity, reflections, and supporting liquidity. As it currently stands, at the time of publishing, our tokenomics include a 5% tax allocated to the marketing wallet. These funds are allocated to ensure the growth of the project and the community. At a certain point, when our community has reached critical mass, the diminishing marginal return for every marketing dollar spent will substantially decrease. At that time, we will convert the 5% marketing fee to be allocated to the burn wallet, rapidly decreasing our token supply every time and accelerating the scarcity of each individual token circulating in the market. This is huge because remember, the big thing that the Shiba Inu token holders wanted to see is more of a hyper-deflationary tokenomic, which was never added. Yes, utility-based burns are being implemented within our ecosystem over at the Shiba Inu ecosystem, but we want to see more of it. The Dogecoin community, of course, it's a hyper-inflationary token. Not hyper, but it's an inflationary token. More tokens continue to be brought back into circulation, which is something that the community does not like. So this is bringing hyper-deflationary for both the SHIB community and the Dogecoin community alike. So this includes all fees accumulated via third parties, which include centralized and decentralized exchanges, etc. This is why our tokenomics are so incredibly important. We designed the tokenomics to exist well beyond our time and the 888-year lock liquidity. And I love this. Long after we have passed generations upon generations have come and gone, our liquidity pool will remain locked. Some might ask, why only 888 years? Well, I firmly believe that it is impossible to see that far into the future, and it is irresponsible of us to make a determination of such caliber beyond this period of time. 888 years provides for the security of our community for generations to come, and the Unity DAO. This here is phenomenal, folks. A healthy community is one that self-governs. Decentralized autonomous organizations are a form of governance in crypto, you're all probably aware by now, that gives the decision-making power to the people, not to the development team. DAOs are incredible structures that serve as the essence of decentralization. We'll be creating a DAO with the purpose to govern the project's future, empowering those who have voting rights through token ownership to continue on with the core beliefs and philosophies of our ecosystem. This will not be limited to governance exclusively related to the ShibaDoge project and its future. It will encompass all that we set out to achieve as a community of one. I foresee no challenge too great for our community if it stands together, unified under a common purpose. Just imagine what is possible. They talk about the open source protocol, go into detail there, and then musings on the pillars of the future. We believe that blockchain are not just for a few coins as they are today. Most of tokens, of course, live on an existing blockchain, for example, Ethereum network and Binance. Instead, in our vision, every human being, in fact, saving entity, human or alien, this is 2910 after all, has its own blockchain. That blockchain is the alpha and the omega of true self-ownership. It holds your monetary and fungible assets, your digital assets like NFTs, of course, but it also holds your thoughts, your brain, your neural net. Eternal physical life does not seem possible, but the eternal existence of thoughts and memories become possible due to deconstructing neural architecture and the architecture of consciousness itself. So well written, guys. And again, this goes into more detail, but I just wanted to highlight the big things for you guys. And all these links are going to be in the description below. But honestly, I don't know. The thing that you want to realize is they want this project to last forever. And I see that the development team, how hard they are working day in and day out, collaborating, creating a lot of structure. Yes, the price action looks rough right now. Don't get me wrong. This is not an easy thing to see. But still sitting at a $42 million market cap for a token that's only been around for less than 2 months. they're doing pretty well, folks. They had a huge run up here during the 1st of February, followed by the big decline. But when the overall market picks back up, I think ShibaDoge has a place in the future for all of us. So again, for a potential entry point, I think it's presenting something pretty nice. But I appreciate your guys' love and support. Make sure you smash that like button, consider subscribing, and that's all I have for you guys today. So until next time, everybody, as always, we'll see you over on the Telegram tomorrow at 6 p.m. and keep investing. Peace.